Hello ladies and gentlemen, this video is about forts, and specifically how various weapons interact with armor. I hope this will be useful. Let's start with the, armor-piercing snipers. Let's see how well they do what they say they're going to do. Well, that's a good start. Against a piece of armor that was slanted a little bit, it just passed right through. Now, if the armor is a lot sharper, like 45 degrees, the shot still passes right through. So if the slant is much sharper than that, then it's finally stopped. The bullet doesn't actually deflect off, it just travels through more of the metal and it eventually stops. Now, slope is relative, which means that even against a really sharp slope, if a sniper attacks from above, it can still pass right through. Now, this does mean that even if a particular piece of armor is not sloped sharply enough, a sniping attack from below can still bounce off. Like so. Well, unless the sniper is attacking from really far below, in which case it can shoot through the floor. I think that just about covers it for the snipers. Now let's take a look at Gatling guns. Now, Gatling guns are, unlike machine guns, basically made to deal damage to forts. Yeah, 3 salvos took an armor piece down to a little less than 1/4 health, which naturally means that if you use 4 of them, well, you'll take down a piece of armor in really short order. Eagle Eye might be able to do it with 3 because of the tighter spread, although that also depends on map distance. Also, 3 Gatlings left unopposed can destroy a piece of armor faster than it can be repaired. So, if you get sniper superiority, you can probably end a game just by continuous Gatling fire. You don't need a cannon or anything like that. Well, let's talk about the next upgraded armor. I'd say it's about 1 or 1.5 tiers ahead, which is the heavy mortar. Well, that had a fairly interesting effect, which is that it destroyed the bracing below, keeping the armor up. But that wasn't so useful for seeing how it would, directly destroy a piece of armor. But that is an effect to keep in mind. That was actually something I didn't expect to happen, but I think it's pretty useful knowledge. Right. So, that's the first thing. The AoE of heavy mortar can destroy things that are behind a piece of armor. So 2 shots reduced it to about 1/4. And if one of them hadn't missed, it would have clearly demonstrated that 2 mortars can destroy a piece of armor faster than most commanders are able to repair them. So let's demonstrate with 3 mortars. Unfortunately, the scatter shot on the mortars makes it really hard to hit all 3 of them on the same armor piece. But if you can manage to get them through on a pose, that barely seems to matter. It's pretty clear that heavy mortars can score a base kill if left alone long enough, which once again makes sniper superiority very important. If you can take out their machine gunners, you can basically destroy their base before factories even come into play. Now, going back to Gatlings, there is one thing that I neglected to mention: armor slopes. Now, this armor is only barely sloped, but the bullets bounced right off. However, once again, slope is relative. So an attack from even a little bit above damages the armor just fine. Sloping the armor more makes it, of course, more difficult to damage it by attacking from above or below, depending on the slope. So keep that in mind when building your base. Finally, let's take a look at the factory weapons. Now, I have a few pieces of practice armor here. One that's flat against this cannon here, and one that's sharply sloped against it. Right, so against the sharply sloped armor, it destroyed one piece of it, and damaged the other one to about halfway. Now, as soon as the cannon reloads, we'll see what happens if the armor is basically flat. Thank you for your patience, by the way. In that case, it once again is stopped by the second piece. However, the second piece is reduced to about, less than 1/4 instead of half. So armor slope does have an effect. It's just not nearly as strong an effect as it does on Gatlings, for example. Now, lasers do not seem to have any kind of damage reduction by sloped armor, but let's see how much it burns through in one full shot. So it looks like it burned through 2 pieces. There were originally 4 here. It dealt a little bit of damage to the third piece, and of course it set things on fire. And I think that's a fairly interesting balance, because the laser cannon is more fragile and it costs more energy to fire, of course. And it can be deflected by shields, which maybe I'll cover some other time. But it's tough to beat the damage, and it ignores slopes completely. Alright, I think that's about it for now. I hope this was helpful to some of you. Good luck with your forts, and shoot for the cores.